We'll have to see if this is actually going out live. I'm not testing, but I'm going to do the intro. Welcome. I'm Gabe Ripley, and this is the Reinventing the Tattoo Network, and it is July 18th, and you are watching the Monday morning drawing for tattooers, drawing with tattooers with James Wisdom. Must be drawing for tattooers with James Wisdom, but you are also welcome to join in. If you go to the homepage of Tattoo Now and click on the upcoming events, there's a little Google. I'll show you the Google Calendar in a second, where you can click on the link and join in if you're a tattooer. In the beginning here, I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction. It's about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but there's no ads during the middle of any of this activities. So bear with us. It also gives us time to test to make sure that the live stream is going out, and for you to take the screenshots and let people know that it's happening, and bring in any other tattooer or apprentice drawing friends. Okay. Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are all welcome to join into these live streams, to watch the replays, to catch up with us in real life events, ultimately to share with each other, inspire each other, and create better art and tattoos together. We're beaming out pretty much every day with your help. Have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo and art shows. Being pretty good reviews. Please leave all of your kind comments in the public channels. And we'd love constructive criticisms. You know, you could email that directly to us. Now, I'm not sure exactly where you're finding us, but you can download the Reinventing the Tattoo app in either the app stores. That's the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. There's a YouTube channel, Reinventing the Tattoo. Just do a search for it, hit the subscribe and all that. You can catch all of the replays going 24/7 on the Roku channel. And I'll show you a little bit of a preview of that. It's pretty amazing. And of course, the podcast places. So that is the Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, I think Amazon's got podcasts, all of that. Now, no matter where you're beaming in from, if you're live or on demand and you're looking for all the information, oh, this is where I need to screen share.
You got it.
You should just maybe turn that on by default if you can. You might not be able to.
Multiple, yes. No, I gotcha.
Okay, voila. Okay, so you could always find the latest and greatest at reinventingthetattoo.com. And you'll notice up here in the free resources, we've got some free tattoo courses. They're not actually free. They're not like learn how to tattoo courses. Come on now. But there are history courses and prehistory courses. It's pretty amazing. As well as the free Reinventing community resources, where you could find all sorts of cool stuff if you're a tattooer. Actually, that link there also has the courses that have free lessons. So the Reinventing Canon's got free lessons, Reinventing Tattoo Business has some free lessons, and so does the Tattoo Machine Building seminar. That one from Tony is absolutely amazing. In any event, so this is the Reinventing the Tattoo homepage. You're always going to be able to find the latest and greatest. These are the previous shows. There's Drawing Tattoos with James Wisdom. Here is our Reinventing 24/7. This kind of mimics the Roku channel. You'll see here, this is Hana Mantra. We have like 12 channels going at any given time. You can see this is our Reinventing podcast channel. There's some drawing groups. We've got, actually these drawing groups are replayed. There's art jams. There's a Spanish channel. Isn't that pretty cool? So there's a channel here that's dedicated to programming that's in Spanish. This here is Jose Buena being interviewed with Bruno. This guy's a sick tattooer. And any other channels we have a Tattoo Machine channel, a Tattoo Convention channel, a marketplace for all of our sponsors. There's a Live in the Castro, that's Haley Adams interviewing LGBTQ and people of color. It's all sorts of amazing stories. We've got a community channel for all of our benefits. We have a tattoo history channel, which is amazing. And against our better judgment, we do have the Drunk Critique going 24/7 on, well, it's either on Roku or right here on the homepage of Reinventing the Tattoo. So if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're done doom scrolling Netflix, or you're looking to introduce the Reinventing to some of your fellow tattooers or apprentices and you're not sure where, then you can go right to reinventingthetattoo.com. Okay, real quick. I think we only have one official upcoming Reinventing live event. That is happening July 29th to the 31st at the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational. and Akron, Ohio, hosted by Tony Urbanek. The Reinventing crew is going to be out there. We've got, we'll be doing interviews and our programming. I think we're going to do the Tattoo Weekly from there. And we'll see. Okay, so that's the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational, July 29th to the 31st. Actually, Tattoo Machine Olympics. I think Rubber City is going to be the host of the very first Tattoo Machine Olympics. So if you're a tattoo machine builder, you need to just drop all of your plans. You still have a couple weeks, get there. We will be webcasting, of course, but there's nothing is going to beat witnessing the first Tattoo Machine Olympics firsthand. Okay, weekly staple shows. Sundays at 1 p.m. is a Reinventing Drawing Group with Jason Leeser. Mondays at 9 a.m. is Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom. Hey, that's this show. 11 a.m. is the Tattoo Weekly with Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Network, Lauren Gregory from Raw Pigments and Reinventing, and then me, I'm Gabe from Tattoo Now. At 5 p.m. on Mondays is Let's Talk About Feelings with Robbie Ripple, who was a bona fide reality TV star. Wait, I don't know if a reality TV star is still a TV star, but he was on like real network TV. Anyways, you can talk about feelings with him every Monday at 5 o'clock. People beam in, and sometimes there's even tears and stuff. It's crazy. Okay, Mondays at 9 p.m., that's tonight, is the subscriber exclusive with Guy Aitchison. So if you are part of the Evolution course that only starts 3 times a year, so you'll know if you're in it. Then yeah, 9 o'clock tonight, exclusive with Guy. Tuesdays, 10 a.m. with Ricardo Sturvna, another Reinventing Drawing Group. We're encouraged to beam in. Wednesdays at 1 p.m. is the Tattoo Now show. That's where I don't get behind. I stay in front of the camera for better or worse. Some people say for better. Some people say for worse. Okay, Thursdays at 6 p.m. is the Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast. That's beaming out with Vaughn and Jordan straight from Registry. Actually, I think Kyle's kind of been helping host on that, and Ben Thomas. They're getting a pretty good crew there of and Todd, and I don't want to now I feel like I'm I'm not mentioning the people that hop in. Anyways, the Tattoo Collecting podcast is awesome. If you're a tattoo collector, it's like hanging out at a tattoo convention, so feel free. Okay, sponsors: rawpigments.co. Get a hold of either some samples or just take a plunge and buy some. The people that have been trying them out actually have been loving them. Rawpigments.co. WorldTattooEvents.com is the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. And as you can imagine, there's tons of updating happening as we speak. D-Lies Pro is known as Dermalize Worldwide. It's a healing wrap to help you protect your art. If you're still using Saran wrap, then you might check out some of the videos, because this healing wrap is it's breathable. I don't know. I get a rash from the Saran wrap, anyways. Tattoo Now. That's me. I'm a computer geek for tattooers, and I am launching some new badass tools. I'm combining a couple different resources in a way that is unbelievable for tattooers. I helped studios make millions of dollars with software five years ago. That the software that I'm using now, that I'm able to present now, and I'm setting people up with now, fucking blows that shit away. It's out of control. It's, well, whatever. I don't need to talk about it. As they say with art, you could appreciate it. I don't need to talk about it. Okay, tattoonow.com. If you are a tattooer, though, now is the time to talk. And then Guy Aitchison is the founder of Reinventing. First the seminar, then with a little trifold binder to go along with it that he used to mail the new chapters to people with. This is in the 92, 3, 4, 5. It was the first Reinventing book. Then it has just grown into this crazy community. Now there's a professional development courses. So if you're a tattooer, go to reinventingthetattoo.com, sign up for the Canon. It's like $400 a year, well worth every penny. It's changed tens of thousands. I don't know. We can't really match it. It might even be hundreds of thousands. Point is, reinventingthetattoo.com, guyaitchison.com. He's awesome. He's the reason why I am way more patient and sharing because of him. And it's crazy because he's like a crazy, not a rock star tattooer, because he's a tattooer, not a musician, but okay, I'm going to stop babbling here and get out of the way. James, thank you very much for coming in Monday mornings. If you are a tattooer or an apprentice and you are just catching, or you missed in the beginning, you're catching now, go to the homepage of reinventingthetattoo.com, upcoming events. There's a Google Calendar. If you find today's date and drawing for tattooers, there's a link there that says artists, zoom in. Okay, I'm out of here. Cheers.
All right. Let's see. Thanks, Gabe. And thanks to everyone for joining us this morning, Drawing for Tattooers. I'm James, and I want to thank Reinventing the Tattoo for making this drawing show possible. Thanks to Guy for for being the leader, and thanks to Gabe, right, for all the technical support and all the guidance. So couldn't do it without y'all. So anyway, today's show is really going to be like really interesting and also I think really beneficial. We're going to talk about perspective, and so it's one of those tricky subjects that I think anyone who really wants to draw objects and things that look like things, having a little bit of perspective can make all the difference. So uh, so today we're gonna be drawing a whole bunch, and I'm gonna show you a few tricks with the Procreate app that I think you might be able to integrate into your regular drawing. So again, thanks for coming, and thanks for checking out our drawing show. Um, this is really a about the fundamentals of making drawings and making images, and so this is just to give you some background, to give you some perspective on what it is that you're actually trying to accomplish, because you might actually have the greatest idea in the world, but if you can't communicate it in an effective way, um, it may not gain the traction that it ought to, right? So doing some simple drawing exercises and learning a couple of really basic things about how drawings can convey our the way that we see the world, I think it's worth it, and it's worth some of the frustration. So with that being said, um, I think I'm going to go right into some drawing. So uh, I'm going to start sharing my see if I can start sharing my iPad.
Just want to shout out to
Okay.
Reggie. He's watching a tattooer from the Philippines. I can't pronounce his last name, Bolaka. But Reggie, if you want to beam in, I direct messaged you the reinventing link.
Yeah, welcome, Reggie. I hope you feel free to join us if you would like. So, all right, let's see. Uh, let me jump in here. All right. I have a couple of images to show, hopefully to start to illustrate our idea. Okay.
Cool.
Right. Should be turned, yeah. Let's see. Ah, this way for you all. Yeah, that looks correct. Okay, great. So what I have here is a simple cube, um, but what it illustrates for us is how we can think about perspective. And so uh, the the most important part about perspective uh, is a term called eye level. And so what is eye level? Eye level. Put on another. Um, so what is eye level? Eye level. What is eye level? Well, eye level is the height of your eye. I know that sounds probably redundant, but really, it's the organizing principle of linear perspective. So eye level is the most important thing in regards to how you can think about organizing your perspective. So if you're going to try to draw something, before you start, the most important thing to consider is the eye level, the height of the eye. This will help you know whether you're looking up at something, or if you like, looking up at something, right, or looking down at something. It's really kind of just that simple. It's something that you're actually going to be familiar with. You're the other way that we often refer to eye level, right, is the horizon. So let me see here. Get rid of this, and delete that. Less. Okay. So the horizon line that you would see if you were looking at a body of water, or if you're looking down a long highway or a train track, oftentimes you can notice the horizon. A lot of our probably regular experience is our eye level, our horizon is blocked by buildings and objects. So you may not be able to always, notice that you're looking at it, but it is always there, no matter what. So, how can we determine eye level? Well, I have this block here. And so if I were to, let me see if I'm on the right layer. Yeah, I'm on a free layer. So if I were to draw some lines from these edges, if you see these edges of the cube, well, they seem to be going back into space. So if I were to draw a line, let's see. I'll just hold it. That's a fun trick with your Procreate pencil. Like if you hold your pencil like so, it'll straighten up the line for you. Try that again. So I can draw kind of a squiggly line, but then I hold it. Oh, it broke a little bit. Try again. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you hold it, and then makes it nice and even for you, like a ruler, right? So that's kind of a nice feature, something to take advantage of, but again, we like to practice drawing exercises here, and that helps you, gain some control over how you make your lines. All right, well, let's take this other one and see where they intersect. All right, roughly right there. Cool. All right, well, what we've done is we have taken these edges, these planes of the cube, and we've noticed where they're going to intersect at back here. Probably it should be. Let's see. I'll change my color. See if it helps. But should be pretty close. Let's see if it worked out. It's pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah. This is the bottom edge of that plane. Let's see if the other one does the same thing. Kind of forcing it. Hold on. Try to do better. From the vanishing point. How about that? That's a little bit better. Nice. Nice. So what I'm trying to illustrate is that all of these lines converge on a single point, right? And this point right here is called the vanishing point. Vanishing. Vanishing point. The vanishing point, and it's going to be on the eye level, right? So if I try to do it just a little bit more accurately. Whoops. See if I can get it a little bit better than that. Yeah. Right? This should help you understand where your eye level is, right? Eye level, or the horizon line. Eye level, horizon line, same thing. Eye level, horizon line, they're the same thing. I like eye level because it's kind of a simpler term. But whatever you like, I think is, whatever makes sense to you, right? The horizon, it's horizontal. It's the farthest distance you can see. For us here on the planet Earth, it's generally the Earth. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing the edge of the Earth. But if you were in outer space, the same sort of principles would apply. It just, you wouldn't see the Earth necessarily, as the horizon line, right? So, all right. So we found some of these. Uh, uh, all of these edges are converging at a point here, a vanishing point on the horizon line. So, just to kind of get our bearings. And so, what is this going to do for us? Well, let's see here. I'll turn this one off. And I'll do another layer. Again, I've got a few layers open here. Here's how I set my my iPad up, how I set my Procreate up today. So when I first opened it up, I went right to the background layer, and I turned on about a 50% gray. You can, whatever you're comfortable with for the show, for streaming the show, it generally looks a little bit better with a little bit of a darker tonal value. But I think, getting rid of the real starkness of the white canvas can be beneficial. Focus. Maybe it's too dark. How about that? Maybe we can brighten it up just a little bit. There, see? The camera likes that one just a little bit more. So it's nice to know. Okay, very good. Well, all right. So I think if you're going to just be sketching away, you may not have to draw the eye level in necessarily, but you should know where you're going, right? You should know where it is, whether it's, above you, whether your object is below your eye level or above your eye level. So let's draw one real quick here. Let's draw one right across the edge here. Snap it. Cool. All right, so I've drawn a thin line. This is going to be my eye level for my little sketch that I want to do. And so, I think one of the easiest sort of projects to do is to draw a brick, right? And so why don't we give that a try? As far as what you're going to be looking at, these are the different types of lines that you're going to use when drawing in 1-point perspective. So 1 point. 1-point perspective. So let's start off with a square. This is a really easy way to do it. So I'll draw a line, right? Draw another one. And we try to practice getting this sort of perpendicular thing going on, which I didn't. But perpendicularity, if you can manage it. Very nice. Roughly. Okay, whatever. And then I want to think about 45 degrees. Pretty close. remember if we sort of intersect, right, the rise and the run at 45 degrees, we'll have, and so that's kind of a nice thing to keep in mind. So there, right. Okay, a little wonky, but I think it's going to work for us. Okay, I'm going to switch my color up, demonstration purpose. I find when I'm perspective that different colors, to sort of think can be really helpful. Okay, great. We could decide on a vanish. Well, we just one like, how about here? A little vanishing point right there. Oh, it might be small. Or zoom in a bit. So there's my vanishing point, and so all these lines that are going back into space, they're going to converge here at the vanishing point. And so again, I think it was a little bit more accurate if I were to start from the vanishing point. So let's give it a shot. So from the vanishing point, I'm back to my cube here. Right.
Hey, James, it seems like there's a little audio crackling happening. I don't know if
Little audio crackling.
I don't know if there's a battery that's rough or it's just.
It might be. Change my headphone here. Testing. Hello.
Still cracking a little bit.
Still crackling a bit.
Does the other Harriet? Do you hear it? The crackling of the mic?
Yes,
I just
it's still
unmuted.
cracking.
Yeah, okay. I'm not crazy then.
Don't hear it now, but we're unmuted.
It's probably changing batteries.
Testing.
That sounds good. I don't hear the crackling anymore.
Crackling anymore. All right.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and mute again. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, testing. How does that sound? Does that sound better?
Much better.
Yet?
Carry on.
Okay. Thank you so much for telling me, Gabe. I really appreciate it. Okay. So back to it. I'm going to draw another line from my vanishing point out to my cube edge here. Okay, try it again. Help it snap. All right, good. This triangle that we're seeing here, right? It's similar to what we were experiencing when we were looking at the photograph that we traced on top of. And so what we're seeing is depth, and it's we're trying to represent 3 dimensions on this 2-dimensional surface, right? And that can be really useful, right? If you're drawing a drawing, or if you're tattooing someone and you really want to, you want to give that sense of depth and 3-dimensionality, you can sort of try to imagine, how this will go. All right. So how do we know, how big Well, because it's depth, right? Because it's actually going back into space. We want to make sure that if we're trying to make a cube, that we make this top part of our cube a little bit shorter than any of the height or the width of our 1-point cube. So I've got some blue here to match, right? We're going to eyeball this, the technical term, and let's get rid of that. Roughly, right? It's a little wonky, but these horizontal lines, right? They're parallel with the horizon line, so they're they're horizontal. The vertical ones, right? They are perpendicular to the horizon line. These lines that we're still seeing in red, right? They're actually, they're horizontal too, but they're in this case at right angles to our vanishing point there. So the technical term for it is orthogonal, right? So these red lines, the technical term is orthogonal. I don't think you need to really dwell on that too much, but it can be useful. The other term for these vertical and horizontal lines are transversal. They traverse the grid, I think is a nice way to think of it, right? They're always sort of linear, going horizontally or vertically. So, right. So we can just finish up our 1-point cube like this. Cool. Mine's a little off. I wonder if I can't mess around with it a little bit. Let's see if I can't look at it. What if I push it? Nope, that doesn't work. So liquefy really works much more effectively when you have a more organic shape you can push around. If you see, I try to push this and it just makes it all squishy. So it liquefies it, right? So anyway, well, look what we've done. We've been able to create the illusion of depth, right? The illusion of 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional plane, right? So I think this is a great place to start. This is a really simple object to draw. And so the other way that you can think about it, right? We could use this. Let's say you had 2 blocks stacked up next to each other, right? So if they were really sort of, on the same line, you're looking at them from the same perspective. If we had another square, snap, and snap. Okay, cool. Right, again, we can use this same vanishing point and create, see, I'll go that side, and I'll do it again over here, right? And then one over here as well. Very nice. And again, if I really want to sort of create that illusion of depth, I'm gonna try to make this side plane a little bit shorter. So, and the line is purely vertical as I can make it, right? And then here is the other one. Boom, and I drew that line, and it wasn't parallel to this one, right? It looked like, this is a little bit more exaggerated, right? It looked like this. So what's wrong here is that instead of either converging, right, these 2 planes that should be parallel, instead of back here to the vanishing point, or being parallel, as we can see in the square, or the cube rather. These two edges are diverging, right? They're diverging. So I think the more sensitive that you can become, converging planes or diverging planes, that's going to help you really get a handle on, what it is that you're making. So let's get rid of that, and let's try to lock it in a little bit more parallel. That's pretty good, pretty close. Nice. And finish it up. And one more. Cool, right? So, if you had to build a city, or if you needed to build like any sort of structure, right? You could start here, eye level, start building blocks, and then it's almost like playing with Legos, but visually. So I think this is a really fun exercise, and then again, don't forget, right now, the way that this looks, I would argue, it looks like I'm looking down at the top of two blocks, two cubes, right? But of course, it's the same difference, right? If they were above my head, right? If I was looking up, still the shape is the same. The geometry is the same. But it's how you contextualize it, right? It's based on eye level, the relationship of eye level to the forms that you're drawing. So this is sort of the lesson one of the 1 point perspective. All right, let's check out this one. Oops. Let's see. I'll grab a new layer. Okay, cool. Right on. So what we have here is an example of 2 point perspective, right? So let's title it. So my layer can go on top of. There we go. Great. On top of. There we go. If you're ever having trouble with your Procreate layers, just mess around with a little bit. All right, so 2 point. 2 point. Oh, I think my pen ran out of juice. So isn't that terrible? And I don't think I can draw with my finger. No, I can't do it with my finger. Bummer. Well, I think we'll tap the brakes, and I'll charge up pencil here for a minute. I will jump into just a little bit of. I have some other stuff I can share. So let's charge up pencil. Let's see here. 2 point. What a fail. All right. So let's switch over, and I will I'm back. So while my pencil is charging, hopefully that's the issue with it. I wanted to share a book, a really helpful book that I think will, it's really easy to read. It's really accessible. It's fairly inexpensive. And so let me pull it up here. Cool. So let me see here. Here's the book. It's called Perspective Made Easy by Ernest Norling. So I really recommend this book. It was always required reading for, students I taught perspective to. And in this book, the author, Norling, goes into, much greater detail, much more well articulated than I am doing, about how this concept of eye level and vanishing point work together in order to give us the structures to be able to draw into perspective. And so I just have a little bit of it here to show, but one of the most important things for an artist to learn how to draw, right, is to give us this illusion of depth, right? And so what we're looking at here is what's known as a two-dimensional plan of a brick. So we can see the two-dimensional, the vertical and the horizontal comprising the brick. And then of course, we lay that on its side, and we now all of a sudden have this magic of depth. Again, I think it's sort of like we may take it for granted that that we see drawings do this all the time. We're constantly looking at images, and we're used to seeing this illusion of depth. But I mean, it really is that, it's illusion. And so I really believe that it's it's something that you can really get a handle on. And it doesn't have to be super complicated, right? It really can be quite simple. But what I found the most useful way to internalize it and to start to be able to apply it was to do these simple exercises, just that simple thing where where we drew those converging planes right back to a vanishing point. We found where eye level was. I think if just as a side point, I think that if you were to take a photograph, and needed to somehow add extra things into the photograph, you wanted to augment it, you could always find some object that demonstrates perspective, right? And you can trace those lines back to an eye level, to a horizon line, and then from there you would have a much more clear idea as to what it is that where it is that you're drawing, right? Are you looking up at the object? Are you looking down at the object? Is it right in the very center? So 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 I really can't recommend it enough, just as a simple exercise to kind of go through. Draw a brick, right? Just draw a brick. Let me see here. I want to do a new share. So new share. Cool. All right. So again, I'm sharing some of the images that I showed before. So this is an example, 1 point perspective. Why 1 point? Because as we saw earlier, it goes back to all of this depth can be described as going back to one single plane, or one single point rather, right, on the eye level. We'll just take a quick look at some of these other examples. So once we turn the cube just ever so slightly, we start to get an example of 2 point perspective. Hopefully, we'll be able to describe that a little bit more in depth, but here we can see, that all of the verticals, right, are still vertical, right? They're still transversal, right? They're still like linearly just vertical. They're just going up. Whereas every other plane, right, that we can see, all of these, horizontals are going to be associated with 2 vanishing points. Again, we'll describe it more in depth. If we look down at an object in extreme view, right, an extreme point of view, Well, what we're gonna end up seeing, right? This would be an example of 3-point perspective. So what happens is we can see that this edge, the right edge and the left edge, they're going to converge at a vanishing point back, back in space, right? Again, these horizontal ones, they are transversal, but for this sort of demonstration, we can think of them as they're just parallel to our eye level, or parallel to our eye. So we don't see the perspective very much there. But the verticals this time, look at the perspective on those. Now these verticals are going all the way to another vanishing point. The vanishing point that that we're talking about here in this case is called the nadir, but it's really kind of, it's at your eye, but like below your feet. So it's kind of it's really interesting. This is I think this is a better example of 3-point perspective. If we can see every angle is going to go to 3 different vanishing points. There'll be a vanishing point on the left, one on the right, and then of course like a descending one, that's below the object. So rather than the linear vertical lines, right, this height here, right, is going to be associated with a vanishing point that's way down deep. So I found this other illustration. This is in Gwen White's Perspective for Artists and Architects. Another really great book. It's pretty complicated. So, while I recommend it, I also, it's like, don't say I didn't warn you, it's really complicated, like approach, but it can be beneficial if you're really interested. In this instance, I think, if I can, sort of point to some stuff, right? What do we see? Well, the horizontal line is the horizon or the eye level, right? That's this most horizontal edge here. And then this cube is sort of traveling through space, right? It's almost like flying at you in a certain way. It's very dynamic. And so it could be that, or it could be a structure, right? As we can sort of see down here in the lower right-hand corner, it's almost this could be some sort of a bridge, or maybe like maybe the structure of the bridge or something like that. Or you could be thinking about like a spaceship or something. There's so many different ways you could apply it, but this isn't meant to like sort of to scare you off or to make you feel intimidated. Just wanted to show like this really beautiful schematic of of how perspective, it certainly used to be done this way. Anymore, we don't have to think about it too much. So let's see here. So maybe some more practical, right? Here's a sketchbook. One of my sketchbooks was drawing my phone, and I probably started out with more of a sketch, and then really tried to understand and think about all of the lines of perspective in it. I think what's helpful, especially helpful, is if you want to draw these elliptical shapes here, like I've got this where the plug goes, or the home button on my on my screen. Practice your ellipses, and then also remember that short axis, long axis relationship. Apply it to perspective, and that'll help you draw a circle in perspective. Probably another lesson, but see, here's this one, much more sketchy, right? Much more constructed. And again, this probably is sufficient for for the task I was doing. But if I wanted to add more objects to it and make a more cohesive scene, I think considering eye level and thinking about like how do I organize this space? Am I looking down at this object? Am I looking up at this object? Those are some of the I think just some of the basic questions that you can ask yourself, and that'll at least help, you not get too overwhelmed, too sort of lost in all of the complicated stuff. So let's see, what else? Do I got anything else in here? Here we go. So here's that example of the brick that we were looking at in the Norling book, and Perspective Made Easy. Perspective Made Easy by Ernest Norling. It's really an expensive book. I highly recommend getting it, and just do all the exercises in it. It really will be like, it'll be a lot of fun. I have added a couple of additional elements that again, I find them useful as I'm, the more perspective that I use in a drawing, the more of these other components that I need. So let's see, I think I don't know if I can mark with this, if I can annotate, but I might be able to annotate a little bit. Let's see, yeah, draw. So, all right, yeah. So right here in the center, there's a central vanishing point. And then over here on the right-hand side, I have a vanishing point over to the right, and then another vanishing point over here to the left, right? All of the edges here of this brick, right? They're gonna shoot back here to this. They're gonna go back to that vanishing point over on that side, right? And then over here on this side, they're gonna be going back to the vanishing point over here, right? That's how I discover the angles, right? Of like, how to angle these. Put on a ruler and just shoot those lines back there to the vanishing point. Something that's really interesting that we could note is that right here we see two other lines that are connected to the vanishing point, right? Well, they're also, it just so happens that these are perpendicular to each other, right? There's a right angle right here, and this little spot right here is this is your eyeball, right? This is your eye. This is the station point, or your eye. That's what this point represents. And so if we're thinking about it, it makes some sense that like at right angle from your eye, 90 degrees on, from this central point, right? That's what gives us this illusion of 90 degrees, right? With this corner of my brick. It's in perspective, but it has the look of sort of, it looks like it's perpendicular, right? Like these two planes are converging, and they meet here in the middle at a 90-degree angle, right? It's the same. Even though, look, it's so much wider, right? But because of all of the, these associations, the illusion starts to work, right? Where we can see this, what looks like a brick to us. And that's what we see all the time, right? We see, like, we could think about it in terms of two-dimensional, just a cube, right? But it's not until we really start to get those converging planes, right? Those planes that would converge somewhere, that we start to feel like there's a little bit of depth. And so I think that's something that you can keep in mind. Let's see here. I'm done annotating. No. Mouse. There it is. Okay, cool. So let's see. Right. Oh, clear those clear all the drawings. Very good. All right. Here's just another example of drawing these bricks sort of flying through space. Again, I have come on, yeah. I have an eye point station right here. There's the eye point, right? And so I have a 45-degree vanishing point over here on the right, and then another 45-degree vanishing point on the left. And again, so that gives me this illusion of of the right angle. But maybe the turn of your cube or your block is more extreme, right, than just this 45 degrees. So in those cases, right, I have another vanishing point, series of vanishing points here. Don't worry about it, 67.5 degrees, whatever. But so I'm here's the eye right here, the point E, that's your eyeball. And then perpendicular to eye level, right, is our central vanishing point, right? I have another vanishing point here, right, besides this left and right 45 degrees. So I have a vanishing point here, and then all the way over here, I have another one, right? Well, let's check it out. What happens? There's another right angle, right? So from this, that's why this, figuring out where your eye point is can be really useful if if you're really interested in like making up really interesting perspectival drawings, right? So if you want to produce this right angle illusion, right, from this station point, you make a right angle, and that will give you vanishing points. So what do I got? It's this one. So this block on the top here, this top block, we can see that it has lines that are converging to this 45-degree angle, this 45-degree vanishing point right here. And this one, so it's associated with this so here's the 2 points for this top block. The lower block, let's see, I can use a different color. The lower block, yeah, the lower block, I have a vanishing point here, right? And then also, right, that one. And then the other side, oh, there's no way. Okay, whatever, it's going. Keep it going. Sorry, I'm drawing with my mouse, so it's terrible. But yeah, use a ruler. But right, so that orthogonal, that edge, right, it's heading for this vanishing point over here. Just to sort of demonstrate it for you, I think that a lot of times we eyeball this, right? You don't have to get so technical. In fact, sometimes getting so technical can make things a bit stiff. But I think, what I would argue is that if you were to sort of form out, some of these shapes, some of these structures, what you might end up giving yourself is like some parameters to be able to draw more loosely on top of. And so kind of having a little bit of both might be just the ticket. One other mention, it's pretty light, but you can see here I've this the cone of vision. Cone of vision. Well, what does that mean? All that this really, refers to is that like we have somewhat limited, visual perception, and all of these vanishing points that we're talking about, like you can usually see one, but what you're not really ever going to see, you're not going to see both of them you're not going to see this in action. And it's also, it's also just this is a contrivance, right? This is just a system that helps us create the illusion. It's not, it's not truly reality, but there is science and mathematics behind it. But anyway, I think the point is this cone of vision, it sort of limits how much of this area that you would show, right? So in this instance, this upper brick right here, it has 2 vanishing points. I'm not going to see those at all. I wouldn't want to see them in my composition. If I did, I would get like a lot of really crazy distortion. I wouldn't get this sort of elegant, like, disappearing, right? It's like moving back into space. In the case of the lower brick, we have a vanishing point that's within our cone of vision, but the other one is way out there. It's way over here on this side, right? So it's you wouldn't see that at all. And so that's I think that's something to just sort of keep in mind. If you were to have eye level, let's say, and then you put a vanishing point here and here, and then try to draw your 2-point structure. Let's see. Hold on. Erase. Erase. Right. Let me get ahead of myself, right? Got this, really extreme edge. It's not, yeah, fine. That'll work. Right. Right. It can be a little bit, it can get a little bit extreme, like really quickly, right? Just depends on what you're doing, right? Whereas if you stretch these vanishing points out really far, I'm gonna try it again, try to illustrate the point a little bit better. Yeah, maybe like this. Right. Right. If you have your vanishing points are really close, I think you can start to see like, well, that doesn't look very cube like, you know what I mean? And that's what you were trying to do. It really is, it's really quite distorted. But again, you might end up sort of seeing that, like, maybe that would be something you would be interested in, right? Is like some really sort of warped out or extreme perspectives. Just to keep in mind, that you whatever. Just keep in mind, like the further away that you can put your vanishing points, the more elegant, the more smooth that your all your drawing can become. So let's see. Mouse and clear all my drawings. Do I got any other? So yeah, just a really simple example here. Eye level, right, which is the horizon line, and then 2 vanishing points. I have a 2-dimensional plan that I've drawn over here on the side, and I think essentially, what I've tried to demonstrate is like, well, this is, what this shape would look like in perspective. So we're making it 3-dimensional, taking it from 2D and making it 3D. Here's a nice little element to consider. So if I can draw your attention over here to the square on the lower left, right? I have a 45-degree angle that I've drawn. I did 2 of them and it made the center of my square. So 2 of these 45-degree angles gave me the center point of the square. Well, when I went to draw it in perspective, what I did was I went from one corner of the square, like I have here, right, in my two-dimensional, right, in my two-dimensional plan, right, where this is a 45-degree angle that's measurable. I went ahead and I took that same concept, and this line will go to the it'll go over here to the vanishing point. It'll go over here to this vanishing point, right? Okay, so I also have lines that are going back to a vanishing point here in the center. Where this line intersected, that's what gave me the amount. So again, I'm pointing over here to this. Here's the 2D, right? The 2D plan. 2D, two-dimensional, height and width, 2D. And then so putting it into 3 dimensions, the 3D, 3 dimensions. I think, it's not the same thing as, I think we associate 3D with, with 3D movies and stuff, but, we're just sort of representing the third dimension. This is a square in perspective, and it's measurable, right? Because like I said, I was able to take this bisector, this 45-degree angle on the 2D, right, and convert it into this 3-dimensional thing, right? And so that could be really useful for you if you're going to do something really technical. You want to like place an ellipse inside of this, right? That's something that it could be a lot more successful if you have something that's actually in square. All right, so maybe one other element, again, on the 2-dimensional plan, right? We're looking at the 2D plan. What I did was, again, I found the center of the square, right? But then I also transferred that information to the timeline, right? And then I drew a line from the corner through that center of this edge, and then I just continued it till it intersected with just a vertical line that's the same. And what that gave me, right, was a perfect square, right? It's perfectly proportional to the first one. So that's a way of measuring without using a ruler, right? You would never have to use a ruler. You could just, again, I did it another time, and then now I have a third square, right? So I didn't measure any of these squares. I just drew one and then repeated it through this process, right? You find the center of some plane, right? And you intersect it like boom. Repeated from corner, pick any corner. Again, I want to get complicated. What? Crackling again. So, let me see if let me stop my share. All right, buddy. Testing.
Still some crackling, a little bit.
Crackling. Thank you. Switch to
All right, how's this?
No crackling, but there's static in the back. A little bit.
How's that? Is that any better?
That's better.
Testing,
It's
testing,
better.
a little bit
Still
better? Okay.
a little fuzzy in the
Fantastic.
back, but I can hear you well. And it's after.
Now let me try it again.
That's better. It's better.
really prefer the AirPods. Let's see if they work. Okay. How's that sound?
Clear. You're
Clear?
clear. Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Well, let me see if my pen is any more charged up. Nope, it's not. Bummer. Well, all right. Well, hey, we did get to do some drawing today, and we also went ahead and we talked a little bit about some of these ideas. And so, I think trying to get a handle on perspective, it can be challenging, but really, I think it's worth it. And I want to recommend, again, Ernest Norling's "Perspective Made Easy." I'll share the what the cover looks like one more time. Right. So this book, this book, I think is it's just one of the gems, right? That it should be a part of your collection of art books, and so I really want to encourage you to run right out to your Amazon and buy it, whatever. It's get this book, get a hold of it. It really will. I think it'll make a huge difference in your confidence as far as drawing in perspective goes. So I will ask you to unmute. All right. So I hope that was made sense. How did it go?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see them or not. I've got some.
Let me pin
I
you
don't
up.
know if you can. All I see is rainbow when I hold it up for you. I don't know if you can see anything.
Oh yeah, definitely can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, little rainbow, but no big deal.
Okay.
That's
Yeah. Got some squares.
That's awesome. No, that's excellent. And so keep it simple for sure, and just I think keep working on it.
Yeah.
Because it really is. It gets complex. It gets I think the more you do it, the more that you can start to see it, right? And the more you can see it happening in nature all the time as well. So yeah. I really appreciate all of the feedback you let me know about the sound issues and stuff. So
Yeah, the sound issues are gone right now.
perfect. No, that's
You're
perfect.
good.
I I had a couple of technical difficulties today, but it wouldn't be the same without them, right? And it wouldn't be the same without you. So I want to thank you for coming, right? And I want to thank again Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Atchison, Gabe Ripley, and everyone in the crew. It really is. It's amazing, being a part of this, and it's also really satisfying. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and I think all I can tell you is that your perspective matters, right? So try to get a hold of understanding your perspective, and you'll go far. So well, thank you all so much, and we'll see you